Hello traders, Rich here, and here is a quick but detailed update on NZDCHF. As usual, if you guys like video analysis, let me know in the comments or simply leave a like. So let's get started. As we clearly see, NZDCHF has been overall bearish for a while, making lower highs and lower lows, trading inside this bearish brown channel. And as per my last picture analysis, we were waiting for it to approach this resistance area to look for trend following sell setups. Of course, unless we have an aggressive break above it, of course from weekly and daily time frame after two big bullish candles, then our resistance would become support once again and would be looking for buy setups on the retest. So long story short, we are overall bearish approaching a resistance. That's why we are looking for sell setups. We always zoom into lower time frames for extra confirmation because the price can still dive inside our resistance before trading lower, or even as mentioned from daily breaks it upward for it to become a support. We always zoom into lower time frames and wait for the bears to take over again. We can see that from a short-term perspective we are clearly overall bullish, making higher highs and higher lows approaching this resistance. So long-term bearish, short-term bullish, waiting for the size to take over so that the long-term and short-term view would be lined up. So as per my trading plan, I'll be waiting, for example, for a new swing low to form around the lower right trend line to consider it my trigger swing. For those who know me, I always highlight it in gray and like this as our trigger, then and only then the conditions would be met, the bears would take over, and when the sell is activated, the stop loss would be just above the previous swing high, and we target a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio to have an edge over the market from a risk management perspective. Meanwhile, of course, this one can trade higher, dive inside this resistance area, and in this case would be looking for new bearish reversal setups to form. Before we continue, I want to tell you about Tickmill. Tickmill is established in 2014 and is one of the leading Forex and CFD brokers with registered users from more than 200 different countries. Tickmill is a no-dealing desk and ECN broker regulated in many countries like the UK, Cyprus, and recently in South Africa. With Tickmill, you can trade a wide range of instruments, starting from Forex to indices, commodities, and even crypto. Most importantly, with very low spreads and trading fees. If you don't have an account yet, make sure to create one using my referral link in the description below to benefit from 5% discounts on your trading fees. And let's continue. As we clearly see, GBPJPY has been overall bullish for a while, making higher highs and higher lows, trading inside this rising broadening wedge in brown. And as per my last picture analysis, we were waiting for it to approach this resistance area to look for sell setups, as it's also a supply zone, as we had an aggressive movement downward from it, and the upper brown trend line acting as a non-horizontal resistance. Of course, as it approaches the lower bound or our lower support area, which was a resistance previously broken upward, now acting as support, and this lower brown trend line to look for buy setups. So long story short, you can see it very clearly, looking for sell setups here, looking for buy setups here. Of course, we'll be looking for sell setups because price can still dive inside it before trading lower or even break it upward for it to become a resistance and trade higher, just like previously. Broken upward, traded higher, it became a support area. That's why we always zoom into lower time frames for extra confirmation. If we zoom into H4, we can see that after this big bullish impulse movement, we've got like an inverse head and shoulders, sorry, not inverse, a head and shoulders pattern forming. We've got our head, left shoulder, and the right shoulder is forming now. So if price reverses from here, would have a head and shoulders pattern, and it would get activated after a break below its neckline, covering the entire structure. For now, GBPJPY can still trade higher and higher to dive inside the resistance before trading lower, and we've got this supply zone also from a medium-term perspective. So let's also zoom into lower time frames to look for setups as prices approaching this resistance area. As we can see, after a break below this low, now we are in a correction phase and we are looking for sell setups. This is our neckline from H4. So if price stays lower, then we can enter a sell here from a short-term perspective, and then this would be the long-term perspective. And as you can see, we've got a wedge pattern forming in red and a channel forming in orange. So as per my trading plan, I'll be waiting, for example, for a new swing low. Let me make a projection clearly. Here we go. So a new swing low to form around the lower orange or red trend line to consider it valid. And for those who know me, I always consider consider it like this as our trigger swing. In this case, we'll be selling GBPJPY from a short-term perspective, and the stop loss would be just above the previous high, and we target 1 to 2 history reward to have an edge over the market, which would be around the neckline. Right. Meanwhile, until the sell is activated as per my trading plan, of course, price can invalidate it like quickly. Okay, it depends on the market conditions, but as per my trading plan, if this one, meanwhile, until it gets activated, GPJPY can still trade higher and higher and dive inside the resistance to test this supply zone, as mentioned from higher time frames. In this case, we'll be looking for new bear setups to form. But as the current market condition, this is what I'm looking for. Best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one.